Chapter 2562. Identical 3. Countless prodigies in the mixed heavens holy domain tried their best to enter the Dragon Emperor clan and become their disciple. But very few were able to succeed. With Yi Qingtang's martial arts talent and skills, it was impossible for her to enter the ancient Dragon Emperor clan through official means. Long Yun believed that if Yi Qingtang had the chance, she would be willing to stay in the Dragon Emperor clan no matter what. Yes, that's possible. Let her stay on as a disciple of the clan. Perhaps she will be of use in the future. The black-robed elder nodded slightly. The status of a Dragon Emperor clan disciple was only below that of a direct bloodline descendant. Generally speaking, it was rare to have someone enter the clan and be given the title of a disciple. In the guest room area, Long Yun knocked on the door and entered while Yi Qingtang was cultivating. Senior. Yi Qingtang smiled when she saw Long Yun. Miss Yi, I'm here today to discuss something with you. Long Yun looked at Yi Qingtang. Yi Qingtang nodded and smiled. Senior, please let me know if you have any instructions for me. It's like this. Miss Yi, are you willing to join the Dragon Emperor clan? Long Yun went straight to the point. Join the Dragon Emperor clan? Yi Qingtang was taken aback. Why would they suddenly let her join the Dragon Emperor clan? Visit Readle. Me for extra chapters. Missy grew up in the blue sky domain. With the scarce martial arts culture and resources of that domain, it is rare for Miss Yi to be able to cultivate to the 5th heaven level Divine Lord. Therefore, I have already spoken with the higher-ups of our clan. We hope that Miss Yi can join our Dragon Emperor clan, Long Yun said with a smile. Yi Qingtang fell in a deep thought. With the status of a disciple of the Dragon Emperor clan, she should be able to obtain the information that she needed. Seeing that Yi Qingtang remained silent, Long Yun continued softly. This is your first time in the Mixed Heavens Holy Domain, and you might be a little unfamiliar with the Dragon Emperor clan. If you are willing, I can allow you to join us as a disciple of the clan. Under normal circumstances, young prodigies in the Mixed Heavens Holy Domain must be at least at the Sub-Emperor level or have a special bloodline to join. In addition, they cannot be beyond the age of 30. They must also pass the various strict tests of the Dragon Emperor clan before they get the chance to join as a disciple. Yi Qingtang was rather tempted by Long Yun's words. Under the Dragon Emperor clan's hierarchical system, disciples are only below that of the direct bloodline descendants and would have access to endless resources. What do you think, Miss Yi? If you're unwilling, the Dragon Emperor clan will not force you, Long Yun said. Yi Qingtang was naturally not fooled by Long Yun's words. What kind of place was this? She was only at the 5th heaven level Divine Lord. As an ancient evil faction in the 2nd domain, how could the Dragon Emperor clan take a liking to her? There was something else that Yi Qingtang believed. A youth who wanted to enter the Dragon Emperor clan as a disciple must at least be at the Sub-Emperor level or possess an extremely rare bloodline. Yi Qingtang was well aware that the Dragon Emperor clan wanted her to join for reasons that had absolutely nothing to do with her martial arts talents. Even if she joined the Dragon Emperor clan as a disciple, those senior disciples were all terrifying and formidable beings. Yi Qingtang was not confident of surviving among those people. Chapter 2563. Entering the Ancient God Karma Tunnel. 1. After a long time, the corners of Yi Qingtang's lips curled up slightly. She looked at Long Yun and said with a smile, Senior, of course am willing. I am from the Blue Sky Domain, which has a low-grade martial arts culture. I'm already very satisfied to be able to see the martial arts scene in the Mixed Heavens Holy Domain. If the Dragon Emperor clan is willing to have me, I am willing to do anything. Long Yun nodded and said, That's good. Don't worry, Yi Qingtang. The 5th heaven level Divine Lord will definitely not be your peak now that you are here at the Dragon Emperor clan. Senior, I am naturally aware of the Dragon Emperor clan's capabilities. However, I have a private matter to attend to. If possible, I will return to the Dragon Emperor clan after settling my private affairs. Is that okay? Yi Qingtang's expression was natural. Oh, you have something private to settle? Long Yun seemed to be deep in thought. Why don't you tell me what it is? If you have any requests, the Dragon Emperor clan will take care of it. Senior, this is my personal matter. Moreover, I have not joined the Dragon Emperor clan yet, so it's not convenient for me to trouble you. I will be able to settle my personal matters in about half a month." Yi Qingtang immediately rejected Long Yun's suggestion. The more Long Yun behaved in such a manner, the more Yi Qingtang would not want to join the Dragon Emperor clan. At the very least, she would not want to stay here before her cultivation level had risen enough so that she could protect herself. Furthermore, the ancient god Karma Tunnel had already opened. Even though the big yellow dog said the karma power was too intense now, no major force had discovered the tunnel yet. Even if she had to take some risks, Yi Qingtang wanted to try it out first. Yi Qingtang had already made up her mind that no matter what, it was not convenient for her to stay in the Dragon Emperor clan now. If things did not work out for her, she would have no choice but to use the power of the deity ocean to escape. However, the elder unexpectedly nodded after pondering for a moment. "Forget it, Miss Yi is right. You are not yet a disciple of the Dragon Emperor clan. Since Miss Yi has a private matter to see to, we'll discuss this matter after you settle it." "Thank you, Senior." Surprise flashed across Yi Qingtang's eyes as she looked at Long Yun. She thought that the white-haired elder would definitely not let her leave. Who knew that he would actually agree? Visit Readle me for extra chapters. Also, Long Yun reached into his pocket and took out a token. He handed it to Yi Qingtang. Yi Qingtang instinctively accepted the token and examined it. The token was made of pure gold, and it was cold to the touch. The word clan was carved on both sides of the token. "Miss Yi, this is a token of Dragon Emperor clan disciples. If you encounter any trouble, you can present this token," Long Yun explained. "Thank you, Senior." Yi Qingtang kept the token. Yi Qingtang thought that the white-haired elder was afraid that the Sky Vault sect would continue to find trouble with her. So he gave her this token that only the disciples of the Dragon Emperor clan could possess. "Miss Yi, it's still daylight. If you're in a hurry, you can leave the mountain now," Long Yun said. After Long Yun left, Yi Qingtang finally heaved a sigh of relief. Regardless of whether the Dragon Emperor clan had ulterior motives for keeping her, they had treated her quite well so far. It was surprising that they had even given her a token. "Little girl, have you thought it through? Are you going to enter the ancient god Karma Tunnel now?" The big yellow dog looked at Yi Qingtang. Chapter 2564. Entering the ancient god Karma Tunnel. 2. Yi Qingtang nodded and said, "This is the best opportunity. Otherwise, the auspicious signs that you mentioned will probably attract the various factions in the Mixed Heavens Holy Domain. It will not be easy to infiltrate then. Besides, once she became a disciple of the Dragon Emperor clan, she would not be qualified to go with those big shots of the Dragon Emperor clan. Yes, all right. They'll think of a way to help you absorb the karma energy. See if you can obtain the recognition of the ancient gods, as only with their approval can you enter the ancient gods' karma tunnel. If the ancient gods don't acknowledge you, you won't be able to enter even if you wanted to," the big yellow dog said. Without further ado, Yi Qingtang asked the big yellow dog to inform the Blood Moon Elder. She tidied up and strode out of the guest room area. The middle-aged man had been waiting outside for a long time. "Hee, Miss Yi, are you not staying for a few more days?" The middle-aged man chuckled when he saw Yi Qingtang walk out of the room. "Senior, I have some private matters to attend to. After I'm done, he'll return to the Dragon Emperor clan to be a disciple," Yi Qingtang said. Miss Yi is truly not simple. Many talented youths wish to join the Dragon Emperor clan as a disciple. Unfortunately, most of them died undergoing the clan's stringent tests. It seems that Lord Long Yun is very fond of Miss Yi. Otherwise, Miss Yi would not have such an opportunity. The middle-aged man smiled. Indeed, the white-haired elder bore no ill intent towards her. Actually, there was no need for him to give her the disciple token before she left, but he had still given it to her. "Holy lady, I'm here." The Blood Moon Elder walked over with a big yellow dog and several bags. Yi Qingtang's expression changed when she saw the bags in the Blood Moon Elder's hand. Did he empty all the rooms in the Dragon Emperor clan's guest area? The Blood Moon Elder did not expect someone from the Dragon Emperor clan to be here either. He looked rather embarrassed and said, "I saw the delicious food and elixirs. It's a waste to leave them here." That's why I took them. I'm not greedy, but am afraid of wasting them. Should I put them back? Before Yi Qingtang could say anything, the middle-aged man waved his hand and said with a smile, "Brother, you are guests invited by the Dragon Emperor clan. Take whatever you want from those rooms. It's not a big deal." "Thank you, then." Yi Qingtang looked at the middle-aged man. She had really been embarrassed by the Blood Moon Elder. Visit Readel. Me for extra chapters. It's getting late. Follow me. I am responsible for escorting you out of the Black Mountains safely, the middle-aged man said. Demons often appeared in the mountains of the Dragon Emperor clan. They were extremely powerful. Even some of the more outstanding younger disciples of the Dragon Emperor clan had died tragically at the hands of those demons. Yi Qingtang and the Blood Moon Elder followed the middle-aged man and reached the foot of the Black Mountains safely in about an hour. "All right, Miss Yi. We'll meet again if fate allows it. Be careful on the road," the middle-aged man said with a smile. "Thank you for taking care of me these last 2 days. Farewell." Yi Qingtang cupped her fists respectfully at the middle-aged man and quickly left the mountain range with the Blood Moon Elder. "My lord, Miss Yi has left." After Yi Qingtang disappeared, the middle-aged man knelt on one knee and bowed to empty air. Chapter 2565. 2565 in the next second, an illusory face appeared in the void. The figure said, "Send someone to the Blue Sky domain to investigate her identity. Also, follow her and see if she has anything to do with the Temple of Paragon. If she does, you can bring her back to the Dragon Emperor clan by force." "Yes." With that, the middle-aged man turned into a blur and instantly disappeared. No one knew where he went. The Dragon Emperor clan had always wanted to rule the entire Mixed Heavens holy domain. They launched their plan many years ago, but it had been foiled by the combined efforts of the other factions. Among them, the Temple of Paragon was a major threat. If Yi Qingtang was linked to the Temple of Paragon, the Dragon Emperor clan would never let go of this opportunity. Yi Qingtang and the Blood Moon Elder had already left the area of the Dragon Emperor clan. They passed by a deep forest and headed towards a secluded area. "Holy Lady, where are we going now?" The Blood Moon Elder hoisted his bags over his shoulders. He wanted to toss them into Yi Qingtang's space ring, but had been rejected by his holy lady. "The ancient god Karma Tunnel," the big yellow dog said. "What?" The Blood Moon Elder's expression changed immediately. Before Yi Qingtang could respond, the Blood Moon Elder blocked her and said hurriedly, "Holy Lady, have you gone mad? You must not go to that place." "Oh, you know about the ancient god Karma Tunnel?" Yi Qingtang looked at the Blood Moon Elder with a strange expression. How did he know about this? "I don't know, but my main body heard from the Heavenly Emperor that in a distant era, this ancient god Karma Tunnel appeared once. In the end, a monster escaped from that tunnel. That monster even gobbled up the sun." The corners of Yi Qingtang's lips twitched. What the hell? It ate the sun? What was in the sky now, then? A fireball? "Holy Lady, there are definitely monsters that can eat the sun in there. You must not go and court death." The Blood Moon Elder was rather anxious. Visit Readel. Me for extra chapters. Bullshit. The big yellow dog glared at the Blood Moon Elder. "I wanted to eat it back then, but I didn't eat it." Yi Qingtang and the Blood Moon Elder looked at the yellow dog at the same time. "So the monster he was talking about was you?" The big yellow dog said. "Monster? What monster? Where did this monster come from?" "It was a divine canine descending onto the mortal world." Yi Qingtang fell into deep thought. It was only now that she was starting to understand how this big yellow dog came to the lower realm from the upper realm, and why it had such a deep hatred for the Karma bloodline clan from the upper realm. "I finally understand." Yi Qingtang stared at the big yellow dog and snorted. "What do you understand?" The yellow dog was puzzled. "You previously said that the ancient god Karma Tunnel can only be opened by a pure Karma bloodline descendant. You must have angered the Karma bloodline clan by forcing them to open the tunnel at their own peril to send you away." Yi Qingtang stared at the big yellow dog. "Little girl, not bad. You're pretty smart to be able to guess correctly. Most humans are not that intelligent." The big yellow dog wagged its tail. Yi Qingtang was a little speechless. Was there even need to guess? It was so obvious. No wonder the yellow dog was so familiar with the ancient god karma tunnel. It even knew about the karma energy surrounding it. Chapter 2566. Entering the ancient god karma tunnel 4, it turned out that the big yellow dog was the sun-eating monster that the Blood Moon Elder was talking about. Yi Qingtang suspected that those with the karma bloodline could largely control the direction of the karma tunnel. It could be a doomed hell or a blessed paradise. Otherwise, the big yellow dog would not have come to the lower realm. When I finally return home, I will definitely kill everyone with the karma bloodline. I was too greedy back then, and they joined forces to trick me. I didn't even plan to enter. I was originally looking for food in a blessed land, but the ancient god karma tunnel opened and sucked that blessed land in. Naturally, I followed it inside. I've never been to the lower realm and thought that the sun was edible energy from the blessed land. The big yellow dog snorted coldly as if it was feeling very indignant. Yi Qingtang shook her head. In the end, the dog didn't manage to eat the sun, but fell into a deep coma. However, Yi Qingtang did not expect that the Wailing Well was actually a product of the upper realm. Then, is the demon god who was resurrected in the Wailing Well also from the upper realm? Yi Qingtang asked with a frown. How is that possible? That is all in the future. After it landed in the lower realm, it's impossible that no one has ever entered the Wailing Well since. It has nothing to do with the upper realm. The big yellow dog wagged its tail. Yi Qingtang didn't refute the big yellow dog. If it was really from the upper realm, the big yellow dog would definitely be able to tell at a glance. Holy lady, Brother Canine, what are you talking about? Upper and lower realms? The Blood Moon Elder was a little dazed. Why are you asking so many questions? Can you understand if I explain to you? The big yellow dog glanced at the Blood Moon Elder. Brother Canine, what are you saying? How would I understand if you don't explain? As long as you explain to me, I would definitely know what you mean. I'm not a fool, the Blood Moon Elder said. The big yellow dog looked at the Blood Moon Elder. You need to remove the word not from your last sentence. I'm not a fool. If I remove the word not, I'm a fool, the Blood Moon Elder said instinctively. Yup, that's right. The big yellow dog wagged its tail. The Blood Moon Sect Elder, cut the crap. It's already dark now. This place is close to the Black Mountain, and the demonic aura is still thick here. I'm afraid there will be demonic beasts appearing late at night. We should try to arrive at the ancient god karma tunnel as soon as possible, Yi Qingtang said. Unable to convince Yi Qingtang otherwise, the Blood Moon Elder finally gave in and followed her. The next morning, the sky gradually lightened. A night had passed. In front of them was an endless river. A faint red beam about 100 meters long streaked across the sky. Ancient God Karma Tunnel. The big yellow dog looked at the 100-meter red beam. Yi Qingtang's spirits were lifted when she heard that. They had finally arrived. Just as she had predicted earlier, there were no auspicious signs from the heavens about the ancient God Karma Tunnel yet. Therefore, no one had discovered it. Coupled with the fact that it was located in an extremely remote area, there was not a single person here. Around the red beam were many giant skeletons. Judging from their appearance, they seemed to be the remains of extremely powerful demon beasts. It appeared that the demon beasts here had discovered the red beam and approached it out of curiosity. However, they had been killed by the dense karma energy. Holy lady, they'll go forward and see if there's any danger. Wait for me here. If there's no danger, come over. If there's danger, run. With that, the Blood Moon Elder pretended to step forward, but Yi Qingtang pulled him back. Chapter 2567. Entering the Ancient God Karma Tunnel 6. Translator. Atlas Studios Editor. Atlas Studios. Before the Blood Moon Elder could take another step, he was pulled back by Yi Qingtang. She looked at the Blood Moon Elder. No need to go over. From what the big yellow dog said, Yi Qingtang already knew that there was still a lot of thick karma energy around the ancient god karma tunnel now. If she were to be tainted by a trace of it, she would die or lose at least a layer of skin. Yi Qingtang's gaze landed on the big yellow dog. Why are you looking at me? Little girl, you are rather ruthless. You stopped this ugly monster from going forward, but want me to probe the path ahead. What deep grudge do you have against me? The big yellow dog wagged its tail at Yi Qingtang. The corners of Yi Qingtang's lips twitched. Didn't this dog promise to help her settle the karma energy around the ancient god karma tunnel? So I forget it. He'll go then. Well, you are leaving for the tunnel. I saw that you still have a lot of food on you. Take them out and leave them behind for us. The big yellow dog stared at Yi Qingtang. Brother Canine, why are you eating that? Have you forgotten? I brought along many of the rare delicacies and elixirs from the Dragon Emperor clan. The Blood Moon Elder smiled. The big yellow dog stared at the Blood Moon Elder and said, I take back what I said before. You're not stupid at all. Cut the crap. Yi Qingtang could not stand this pair of clowns. Had their mothers dropped them on their heads at birth? The big yellow dog did not say anything else and ran forward quickly. But when the big yellow dog ran to the middle, countless red lights shot towards it like arrows. However, those extremely powerful karma energies did not affect the dog at all. Not a single strand of fur fell from the big yellow dog's body. When it reached the center, surprise flashed across the eyes of the big yellow dog. What's wrong? Yi Qingtang frowned slightly. She was afraid that something would happen to the big yellow dog and hurriedly asked, I'm fine. I just think that this karma energy is quite powerful, said the yellow dog. Soon, the big yellow dog returned and stared at Yi Qingtang. All right, the next wave of karma energy will take at least an hour to accumulate. You have to make the best use of this time to see if you're qualified to enter the ancient god karma tunnel. If you are, you can enter. If not, you have to come back quickly. Yi Qingtang nodded. After confirming that there was no residual karma energy, she quickly walked towards the red beam. However, Yi Qingtang had just taken a few steps when the Blood Moon Elder called out to her. If you have problems with this website, please continue reading your novel on our new website, my thanks. Holy Lady, when are you coming back? How long do we have to wait? The Blood Moon Elder asked. Chapter 2568. Don't be afraid. 1. The big yellow dog looked at the Blood Moon Elder and wagged its tail. It then gazed at Yi Qingtang's back profile. This little girl is very tough. Don't worry, she might not die even if you died a few more times. The Blood Moon Elder was speechless. Could he not die? Was it so difficult for him to just continue living? The big yellow dog said softly, this might be the most important turning point in her life. If she can persevere and overcome this, perhaps in the future the Blood Moon Elder was curious. Perhaps what? The big yellow dog glanced at the Blood Moon Elder. Get lost. Yi Qingtang had already arrived at the red beam. In the next second, Yi Qingtang's body flew into the air and towards the center of the red beam. This was exactly as the big yellow dog had described. If she didn't have the right to enter the ancient god karma tunnel, she would have been ejected immediately. If she was worthy, she would enter the tunnel in one piece. Just as Yi Qingtang flew into the red beam, an extremely strong resistance surged out, as if it wanted to push Yi Qingtang away. This is bad. Sensing this resistance, Yi Qingtang frowned slightly as an ominous feeling arose in her heart. It was obvious that this tunnel rejected her and didn't want her to get close to it. However, a red light shot out of her shattered voice transmission stone, which fused with the red beam. Before Yi Qingtang could make sense of it, the resistance inexplicably disappeared. The huge resistance turned into a suction force, and in the blink of an eye, Yi Qingtang was sucked into the center of the red beam, disappearing from the world. The Holy Lady is gone, the Blood Moon Elder said anxiously. The big yellow dog wagged its tail and looked at the flash of red light that had fused with the red beam. Interesting. An unknown period of time passed. It felt like millions of years, but also like just the blink of an eye. Yi Qingtang regained consciousness and slowly opened her eyes. This is? Yi Qingtang saw herself floating in a huge tunnel. Around the tunnel was chaotic space-time storm. The destructive power contained in these storms could not be described in words. Even if an ancient true god was to personally come here, he would probably be shattered into pieces if engulfed by these space-time storms. Even the purest power of nature could not compare to these terrifying storms. Is this the ancient god Karma Tunnel? It's so dangerous here. Yi Qingtang curled up her body and did not dare to move. It was just a tunnel, but it was already so dangerous and terrifying. If one was unlucky and entered the doomed hells that the big yellow dog had described, the consequences would be unimaginable. But now, even the tunnel itself was overwhelming for her. There were no rules in the formation of a space-time storm. Chaotic turbulence filled the tunnel. Yi Qingtang could not control her body and was unable to move of free will. In just a few breaths' time, the space-time storms ahead deviated from the center and gradually merged with her position. This is bad. Yi Qingtang's expression changed when she saw what was happening in such a situation. Even an immortal emperor would find it difficult to escape. And she was just a mere fifth heaven-level divine lord. Without thinking much, Yi Qingtang immediately communicated with the power of the deity ocean in her body. If she did not escape quickly, she would be completely engulfed by the space-time storm within 10 seconds. Chapter 2569. Don't be afraid, too. However, Yi Qingtang made a prompt decision. Without any hesitation, she communicated with the power of her deity ocean. Even if there was only a 50% chance of her entering the deity ocean space, she had to try and not just wait for death here. The ancient god Karma Tunnel was a rare opportunity. But Yi Qingtang had not even reached the end of the tunnel and would never know if she would enter a blessed paradise or a doomed hell. She felt a little disappointed, but no matter what, her life was the most important. If she lost her life, everything would be meaningless. However, Yi Qingtang's expression changed drastically. She could not communicate with the deity ocean. To be exact, the ancient god Karma Tunnel that Yi Qingtang was an isolated all sources of power, including herself. At that instant, Yi Qingtang's face was ashen. She never expected that she would die before achieving her goal. She would definitely die by the time she reached the end of the ancient god Karma Tunnel. Perhaps she had always been unlucky, but what was this? Dying in this tunnel? Not even getting the chance to see the doomed hell or blessed paradise. Despair and a trace of anger surfaced in Yi Qingtang's heart. Was she so unlucky? Now, Yi Qingtang could only watch as the space-time storm approached her. She could feel herself gradually enveloped by the storm. Every inch of Yi Qingtang's skin seemed to be torn apart. This was the first time Yi Qingtang felt such pain. Her consciousness gradually blurred. Yi Qingtang raised her arm with difficulty. She wanted to see how powerful the destructive force of this space-time storm was. Anyway, since she was about to die, she no longer had any fear. Don't be afraid. Suddenly, a gentle voice appeared out of nowhere. In the next second, Yi Qingtang's originally shattered body suddenly started to recover for some reason, and she regained consciousness instantly. A faint figure appeared beside Yi Qingtang. However, even though it was just a phantom, one could still roughly see its appearance. Long, ink-black hair fell casually to the waist. A gentle smile on a face that was visit Rietal. Me for extra chapters. Terrifyingly pale. The gentle man in front of her. He was Ling Yan. Ling Yan. Yi Qingtang frowned slightly. She reached out and grabbed at the shadow, but her fingers instantly penetrated the shadow's body. How Yi Qingtang was slightly surprised. Why was it so bone-chilling? Don't be afraid. The shadow repeated its first sentence. Ling Yan. What's wrong? Yi Qingtang was a little lost, as if she had not fully recovered. Don't be afraid. A complicated light flashed across the shadowy figure's eyes as it looked at Yi Qingtang in the next second. The shadow reached out and grabbed Yi Qingtang's right hand. However, the shadow's hand also passed through her. The shadow looked at Yi Qingtang. The shadowy figure seemed to be weightless as it flew through the tunnel. Seeing the girl slowly close her eyes from exhaustion, the shadow was like a guardian angel as it surrounded Yi Qingtang and blocked waves erupting from the space-time storm. Before long, a piercing light appeared at the end of the tunnel. It was only then that the shadow finally stopped and looked at Yi Jingtang quietly. A warm smile remained on its face. Don't be afraid. Chapter 2570, Land of Despair, 1, Translator, Atlas Studios Editor, Atlas Studios Cold. It was bone-chillingly cold. Yi Qingtang seemed to have fallen into an icy abyss. It was so cold that she started to feel suffocated. She would gladly welcome the slightest hint of warmth now. Anything to stave off that biting, aggressive cold. After some time, Yi Qingtang finally opened her eyes, where Yi Qingtang got up slowly and looked around. Fortunately, she had already emerged from the ancient god Karma tunnel. However, everything seemed like a dream when she was in the ancient god Karma tunnel. It was so unreal that Yi Qingtang thought that she must have been dreaming she saw Ling Yin and the space-time storm. Even at that moment, Yi Qingtang could not accurately determine whether it had really happened or if it was just an abnormal dream. Soon, this bone-piercing coldness brought Yi Qingtang back to reality. She was too cold. Even though Yi Qingtang was a fifth heaven-level divine lord, she could not endure this chill. It was impossible to imagine just how cold it would be. A chill that not even a divine lord could endure. Beneath her feet was ice. Even the sky seemed to be covered in ice. As far as the eye could see, this entire world had long been covered in ice. The cold wind was like a sharp blade that could easily slice through the skin of an emperor-level practitioner. Before long, several ice burns had already appeared on Yi Qingtang's body. What the hell is this place? Yi Qingtang could not help frowning. However, in just a few breaths, Yi Qingtang's expression changed drastically. She suddenly remembered that there was either a doomed hell or a blessed paradise at the end of the ancient god Karma tunnel. Where Yi Qingtang was now, she did not think it was a paradise. Would a blessed paradise be like this? Even the cold wind could be fatal. Yi Qingtang was almost certain that she had entered the doomed hell. The cursed place that the big yellow dog spoke of, where even the gods would tremble. Once you entered the doomed hell, no matter who you were, whether you were human or demon, or even a high and mighty god, you would have to crawl on the ground and wait for their death. But Yi Qingtang still held a trace of hope. Perhaps this place was a blessed land. With that in mind, Yi Qingtang lifted her heavy footsteps and walked forward. Yi Qingtang was searching for an opportunity to live. The ground beneath her feet was frozen for millions of miles. It was extremely smooth like a mirror. In fact, when Yi Qingtang lowered her head, she could see her reflection. After walking for an unknown period of time, Yi Qingtang's body finally started to warm up. There was no way to stop in a place like this. The moment she stopped to rest, it did not take long before the bone-piercing coldness became unbearable for her, as if even her blood was about to freeze into ice. In the end, Yi Qingtang could only bow down her head to the truth. She did not enter the blessed paradise. She had completely failed. After entering the ancient god Karma tunnel, it had sent her to this cursed place. This was the land of death that the big yellow dog had mentioned, the doomed abyss. Even gods could only wait for death to descend upon them when they entered this cursed land. How could she survive? Yi Qingtang stopped and tried to communicate with the deity ocean in her body. Even if it was a doomed hell, it would not be a problem for her to enter the deity ocean space. Even if she could not return to the outside world, and most she would remain in the deity ocean space. No matter what, it was better than staying in this suffocating and despairing place. However, Yi Qingtang sunk into despair once again. The deity ocean failed to work. Chapter 2571, Land of Despair 2. Indeed, Yi Qingtang was unable to connect with the deity ocean in her body at all. It was as if all connections were severed because of this cursed land. In this place where even gods and devils felt despair, Yi Qingtang felt like she was suffocating just by looking around. If she could, she did not want to stay for even a moment longer. However, she could no longer leave. Even after death, her soul would be suppressed here, never to be reborn. Endless snowflakes fell from the boundless glaciers. This world was filled with bone-piercing coldness and despair. Yi Qingtang raised her hand, and soon, a red flame appeared in her palm. Finally, Yi Qingtang felt a warmth that she had not felt in a long time. After her body became warmer, Yi Qingtang did not dare to continue staying still. She was afraid that the blood in her body would freeze, so she had no choice but to continue walking forward. In this place of despair, every step consumed a lot of stamina. Furthermore, there was not the slightest bit of spirit energy in this world to replenish it. Just like her red flame, it could not be replenished by spirit energy once it ran out. Opening her space ring, Yi Qingtang took out some beef jerky. She swallowed it in large mouthfuls just to recover her energy quickly. In this cursed hell, it was certain death once one's stamina was depleted. If Yi Qingtang stopped to rest, her blood would be frozen into ice in a few hours. If it came down to that, she would be unable to escape death then. Yi Qingtang started to have regrets. Her luck had never been good all along. She thought that this would be a huge opportunity, but who expected it to turn out to be a huge calamity? If Yi Qingtang knew that she would not be able to connect with her deity ocean in this place, perhaps she would not have taken a risk. Before entering the ancient god Karma tunnel, Yi Qingtang believed that the worst outcome would be for her to enter the deity ocean space. However, after arriving at this doomed hell, the power of the deity ocean had been sealed off, and she had no way to escape. She walked along in this land of despair for a long, undetermined period of time. Perhaps it had been a few days, but there was no day or night in this world. It was difficult to tell. By now, Yi Qingtang's stamina was completely exhausted. With a thud, Yi Qingtang fell onto the ice. She no longer had the strength to walk anymore. Soon, that terrifying chilliness engulfed Yi Qingtang again. Boom! Loud booms rang out one after another. Yi Qingtang looked ahead. An indomitable great fiend celestial's huge body was running some distance ahead. His face was filled with despair, and he was roaring in a hoarse voice. But such scenes no longer surprised her. These high and mighty existences had long since died off. Only their souls were still imprisoned here, making it difficult for them to extricate themselves. They experienced the pain and torture leading to their deaths repeatedly every day, never stopping for eternity. If I die, perhaps it will be the same, Yi Qingtang murmured softly. At that moment, Yi Qingtang no longer felt tired. Her body gradually lost all feeling as though she was completely isolated from the world. Only that bone-chilling coldness continued to wear away her remaining will. Yi Qingtang closed her eyes slowly. At that moment, she only wanted to have a good sleep. Even if she had to pay a tragic price, she would never open her eyes again. After a few breaths, Yi Qingtang's body slowly turned to ice. Don't be afraid. It was that familiar voice again. It seemed to be far away, but also very close. The shadowy figure appeared and came to Yi Qingtang's side. Its body erupted with a sun-like luster and heat which enveloped Yi Qingtang. The figure lay beside Yi Qingtang and enveloped her body, before infusing a remaining sliver of karma energy into Yi Qingtang's body. Chapter 2572. The Strongest in the Universe, Tian 1. This sliver of karma energy gradually warmed Yi Qingtang's body. It was as if there was a hot little sun surrounding her. It was warm and comfortable. However, Yi Qingtang still did not want to open her eyes. She was too tired, and it seemed that she had not felt so relaxed in many years. It would be really good if she could sleep like this forever. Miss Yi, how long do you want to sleep for? In her daze, Yi Qingtang saw a gentle-looking man sitting beside her with a faint smile. Is this Miss Yes' subconscious world? It's very beautiful. The man looked around. There was a gorge with beautiful mountains and clear waters. Listening carefully, he could hear the sound of flowing water from a stream. Occasionally, there were the sounds of birds chirping. The light breeze was very relaxing. Ling Yan, why are you here? Yi Qingtang leaned against a huge old pine tree and looked at the man sitting beside her in surprise. Ling Yan smiled when he heard Yi Qingtang. His lively eyes landed on Yi Qingtang, and he said with a smile, "If I didn't come, Miss Yi would have to spend her entire life here. How boring would it be to remain alone for the rest of your life? I think this place is quite good." Yi Qingtang smiled and said, "Since you're here, don't leave. We can accompany each other." Ling Yan's eyes flickered. "Actually, I've already been gone for a long time. Perhaps this is the only time I can stay by your side," Ling Yan said softly. "Gone for a long time? What do you mean?" Yi Qingtang did not understand why Ling Yan was speaking so cryptically. "Nothing. It's time to wake up. There's something more important waiting for you in the future. You can't fall here," Ling Yan smiled. "You're not the only one bearing everything now. You still have me. I will always be by your side now and in the future. You and I will bear it together." Yi Qingtang. Ling Yan looked at Yi Qingtang, and his lips curled into a very comfortable smile. "Give me a hug." Yi Qingtang was slightly taken aback. Before Yi Qingtang could read him to her senses, Ling Yan stepped forward and hugged her gently. Without giving Yi Qingtang any time to react, Ling Yan suddenly pressed his face against Yi Qingtang's and whispered into her ear, "You can do it." His tone was rather conflicted. "Don't be afraid. I'm always here." The cold gradually dissipated, but one could still hear the wind whistling through the air like a sharp blade. After a long while, Yi Qingtang slowly opened her eyes. "Ling Yan, visit Rietal. Me for extra chapters," Yi Qingtang mumbled after waking up. She had a dream just now. She saw Ling Yan in a paradise. Just like in the past, he was flawless. However, she could no longer remember the details of the dream. It was very blurry. However, Yi Qingtang knew that the dream made her feel very at ease. She did not know how long it had been since she felt so comfortable. Even the coldness in her heart was swept away. After a while, Yi Qingtang slowly stood up. This place was still a land of despair, impossible to leave. It was bone-chilling and endless. No one knew when they would reach the end. Yi Qingtang looked ahead. She could see those once great fiend celestials whose souls were eternally tormented here. If those fiend celestials were given another chance, Yi Qingtang believed that they would definitely not have chosen to enter the ancient God Karma tunnel. If you find any errors, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know so we can fix it as soon as possible. Tip: you can use left, right, A and D keyboard keys to browse between chapters. Chapter 2573, The Strongest in the Universe, Tion 2, Translator, Atlas Studios Editor. Atlas Studios, those indomitable fiend celestials. Every single one of them have been a glorious legendary figure in their era. Even if they had their glory days, they still ended up suffering here, not even having the chance to reincarnate. Day after day, year after year, there was no hope and no light on the horizon. Yi Qingtang looked away, reluctant to continue looking at those fiend celestials. She had already come here, and her ending would be the same as theirs. In that instant, Yi Qingtang shook her head. She probably didn't even deserve to cry. Who was she? Was she even qualified to suffer the same treatment as those fiend celestials? Even the doomed hell might spurn her. Yi Qingtang smiled at that thought. She was no longer afraid of this matter, and only had some lingering regrets that could not be erased. "What are you smiling at?" A voice suddenly sounded from nearby. This voice was very cold, so cold that it pierced the bone. It was even colder than the cold wind in this place. At that, Yi Qingtang could smile no more. Who is it? Yi Qingtang scanned her surroundings. These few days, all Yi Qingtang saw were those fiend celestials repeatedly experience their own calamity. Who else was here who could communicate with her? "Who am I?" The cold voice paused for a moment. The owner of the voice seemed to be pondering who he was. "Yes, who am I?" The voice sounded out again after a long time. Yi Qingtang was speechless. How would she know who it was? Wasn't she the one who asked the question? Why was she being questioned now? "Where are you? Why don't you show yourself?" "I'm not dead yet. After I die, my soul will be suppressed here forever. By then, we can still chat to kill time." Yi Qingtang smiled. No matter who it was no longer important to Yi Qingtang. Even if it were once a legendary fiend celestial, they were all the same now. There was no distinction between high and low now. They were just dust that had suffered so much that they could not be reborn. The moment Yi Qingtang finished her words, a human figure gradually formed. Yi Qingtang was slightly dazed when she saw the man in front of her. The man stood beside Yi Qingtang. He was wearing a tattered black robe, which seemed to be imprinted with a mysterious pattern. There were two dragon-shaped patterns on the man's shoulders. They were vivid and lifelike, as if a real divine dragon had appeared. His long, snow-white hair fell loosely to his waist. His eyes were cold, and he was extremely handsome. It was a pity that he looked unbearably cold, even colder than the cold wind. The man did not move. Although he appeared extremely realistic, Yi Qingtang could not see everything clearly. It was as though she was looking at a flower through a fog or the reflection of the moon in a mirror. "What's your name?" the man asked. "Yi Qingtang, what about you?" Yi Qingtang asked. What's my name?" The man mumbled the same words. Yi Qingtang was exasperated. "Was the one who asked you first, but you are asking me now. How would I know your name?" Yi Qingtang was rather frustrated. "Once upon a time, someone called me Tian," the man said after a moment of thought. "What? Tian?" Yi Qingtang was taken aback. "Sit." The man sat on the ground. "No, it's too cold." Yi Qingtang shook her head and remained where she was. "Suit yourself," the man said. "By the way, Brother Tian, how long have you been here?" Yi Qingtang asked curiously. Chapter 2574. The Strongest in the Universe, Tian, 3. The man's gaze landed on Yi Qingtang impassively. Don't know. Yi Qingtang was speechless. But that sounded about right. He did not even remember his own name. How could he know how long he had been here? "Brother Tian, I'm new here. Are there any rules?" Yi Qingtang walked to the man's side and asked humbly. This man looked rather old and experienced. He was so old that he had even forgotten his own name. Anyway, since she was going to be in prison here forever, it was the right thing to ask more questions. "Suffering," the man said. Yi Qingtang was speechless. He really did not give her any hope at all. All right. In the end, Yi Qingtang could only nod and accept reality. However, Yi Qingtang was still curious. Those fiend celestials were suffering endlessly. How could this man chat with her so leisurely? "Brother Tian, will I be like them after I die?" Yi Qingtang pointed at the distant fiend celestials. The man nodded. Even worse. Yi Qingtang was once again struck dumb. Was this man here to torture her? She was about to die anyway, and he could have just told her a white lie so that she wouldn't die in despair. "You have karma power in you. Are you a descendant of the karma bloodline?" The man asked after a long moment passed. "Am not." Yi Qingtang shook her head. She did not know why she had karma power. Whatever. The man did not seem to care. "Brother Tian, do you suffer here every day?" Yi Qingtang continued to ask. "What is suffering?" the man asked her back. Yi Qingtang felt that she was about to go crazy. Why was this man so crazy? Had he been here for too long, such that his soul had already collapsed? "This place is filled with wandering spirits who endure endless suffering," the man said. Yi Qingtang nodded. "I know. I'm hungry. Let's eat something first." Suddenly, the man stood up without warning. His gaze landed on a fiend celestial in the distance. Immediately after, the man's lips parted slightly. In the next second, right before Yi Qingtang's shocked eyes, the man swallowed that fiend celestial. Yi Qingtang was stunned. Was she dreaming? What had just happened? How could something so surreal happen? This man ate a fiend celestial. I can taste resentment, grievance, and despair. The man seemed to have eaten his fill and sat cross-legged on the ground again. If you have problems with this website, please continue reading your novel on our new website, my thanks. Yi Qingtang was speechless. Would she be eaten by this man? However, from a certain perspective, it shouldn't be a bad thing for those trapped and suffering souls to be eaten by this man, right? "Brother Tian, do you want to eat me too? After I die, why don't you eat my soul too?" Yi Qingtang suggested. In this way, she might be able to reincarnate and be reborn. Being eaten was better than suffering here forever. This is the first time I've heard such a request. The man stared at Yi Qingtang and shook his head. You want die? There's karma fire in your body. You can live in suffering. Live in suffering? Yi Qingtang was stunned. She might as well die. It's better to live in suffering than to die, the man said. Yi Qingtang was struck dumb. Could she live without suffering? But since you can't die, what are you doing here? The man fell into deep thought. Chapter 2575. The Strongest in the Universe, Tian, 4. Yi Qingtang's lips twitched when she heard the man's words. Was this man doing this on purpose? Did he think she wanted to be here? Before Yi Qingtang could respond, the man asked, Do you have anything to eat? Food. Almost instinctively, Yi Qingtang took out the remaining beef rations from her space ring. Thank you. The man's eyes flickered. In the blink of an eye, the beef jerky in Yi Qingtang's hand disappeared and reappeared in the man's hand. Yi Qingtang was dumbstruck. What kind of sorcery was that? However, Yi Qingtang did not mind and asked, Brother Tian, you said that I have karma fire in my body and that I can't die. What do you mean? I don't know. The man seemed to be uninterested in answering Yi Qingtang's question. He just continued to eat his beef jerky. In the blink of an eye, the man finished all the food. Do you have any more? The man looked at Yi Qingtang. Yi Qingtang shook her head. No, you finished it all. Do you have wine? The man asked again. In this land of despair, Yi Qingtang did not mind, even if the other party was a lunatic, as long as there was someone to chat with. Sure. The man nodded. Are you sure? If you are, you can leave immediately. Yes, send me out. Yi Qingtang smiled. Okay, bring more strong wine the next time. The stronger the better, the man said. Yi Qingtang was about to say something when everything before her disappeared in a flash. There was no bone-piercing cold wind, no man who called himself Tian, no fiend celestials who were suffering for eternity. This, Yi Qingtang looked around, and her pupils constricted. Ancient God, Karma Tunnel, Yi Qingtang gasped. She had returned to the ancient God, Karma Tunnel. Am I dreaming? Yi Qingtang pinched her face. The sensation was very real. She was not dreaming. Chapter 2576. New World 1. At that moment, Yi Qingtang finally realized that the man called Tian in that land of despair was not crazy, nor was he bragging. But of course, Yi Qingtang did not take that man's word seriously at that time. The man said that he could fulfill her wish and send her away. Yi Qingtang did not believe him. If he really had that ability, why did he not leave? Even at this moment, Yi Qingtang could not understand. She had indeed been sent away from that cursed place. Facts spoke louder than words. But why did that man stay there? Tian, Yi Qingtang muttered in shock. In that case, was it true that Tian could have made her a god? At that moment, Yi Qingtang was feeling a little scared. Fortunately, she did not agree back then. If she really agreed to become a god, and her wish was used up, she would still be unable to leave. Even if she became a god, she would still be trapped forever in that cursed land. Yi Qingtang was indeed very curious about Tian. That man's supernatural power was indescribably powerful. Of course, he might have been the caretaker of that doomed hell. Yi Qingtang did not know and could only rely on her own conjecture. Without giving Yi Qingtang any time to react, her soul seemed to have separated from her body. A sense of weightlessness assaulted her, and she lost consciousness. After some time, Yi Qingtang heard the sound of water flowing nearby. A moment later, Yi Qingtang slowly opened her eyes. Almost immediately, Yi Qingtang scanned her surroundings before allowing herself to heave a sigh of relief as joy surfaced in her eyes. In the sky, the light of the scorching sun was so warm that there was no longer the bone-piercing coldness of the cursed hell. As she got up, Yi Qingtang dusted herself off and sized up this strange place curiously. But before long, Yi Qingtang was frowning slightly with a strange expression. This place did not seem like the blessed paradise described by the big yellow dog. Yi Qingtang heard the yellow dog mention that there were all kinds of legacy bloodlines in the Blessed Land. As long as one passed the test, one could obtain the legacy. And the place she was currently in seemed to be a complete world. What exactly happened? What went wrong? Yi Qingtang pondered. Chapter 2577, New World 2. This was the first time Yi Qingtang was experiencing the ancient god Karma Tunnel. Everything she knew, she had heard from the big yellow dog. She did not know anything much. The concentration of spirit energy in this place was not as high as her own deity ocean space, but it was still much thicker than in the second domain. Help! Just as Yi Qingtang was deep in thought, she heard a cry for help. Almost instinctively, Yi Qingtang sized up the stream in front of her. A head popped out of the water, and two arms were flailing around. Seeing that, Yi Qingtang flew forward and hauled the figure up from the water. After bringing him ashore, Yi Qingtang realized that the person who was drowning was a teenager of about 12 to 13 years of age. He was fair and clean, though at this moment, the youth's face was pale as he panted heavily as if he had gotten a great shock. "Are you all right?" Yi Qingtang asked the youth. "No, I was scared to death." The young man touched the water droplets on his face. Yi Qingtang stared at the youth with a strange expression. This youth was not an ordinary person. Although he was young, his martial skills were at least at the Divine Lord stage. Yi Qingtang looked at the stream and frowned. "Is there a demon underwater?" "Demon?" The youth was taken aback before shaking his head. No. Yi Qingtang looked at the youth in confusion. "If not, why were you drowning?" "I was thirsty and wanted to fill my bottle with water, but I accidentally fell in. I don't know how to swim," the young man said. Yi Qingtang could not accept the youth's explanation. As a dignified divine lord, even if he really lost his footing and fell into the water, what was there to fear? Even an ordinary martial artist would not shout for help. "Are you unable to fly, or don't know how to hold your breath?" Yi Qingtang asked. Even if he didn't know how to swim, with his abilities at the Divine Lord stage, it would be very easy for him to hold his breath in the water for a day or two. "No." The young man was taken aback. He replied instinctively. "Then why did you shout for help just now?" Yi Qingtang shook her head. "Well, I was nervous." Only then did the young man realize that he did not need to be afraid of water. "Elder sister, no matter what, thank you very much for this." The young man cupped his fists respectfully at Yi Qingtang. "No problem," Yi Qingtang said calmly. "Elder sister, what's her name?" "He'll remember your name and repay you in the future," the young man said with a smile. "If you have problems with this website, please continue reading your novel on our new website, my thanks." Yi Qingtang replied honestly. Without giving the youth a chance to speak, Yi Qingtang asked, "By the way, this is my first time here and am not familiar with this place. May I ask where this is?" "Here." The young man looked around. "We are in the mid part of MT Zone. This is a place for medicinal herbs. There are many precious herbs on the mountain, but people at our level don't dare to go too high up the mountain. There are more demon beasts on the mountain." "People at our level?" Yi Qingtang stared at the youth. Even a Divine Lord stage practitioner did not dare to go up the mountain to pick herbs. "I just snuck up the mountain and wanted to see if there were any herbs nearby. However, I saw an emperor-level practitioner. He was killed by an immortal emperor, so I ran away." The youth sighed. "Yi Qingtang, emperor, immortal emperor? There are immortal emperors here?" Yi Qingtang asked softly. The youth nodded vehemently. "Yes, she's a beautiful lady, but she's very cruel. She also looks like you." At that point, the young man stared at Yi Qingtang, and his expression changed drastically. You are the immortal emperor who killed the emperor-level practitioner." Chapter 2578, New World 3. Yi Qingtang frowned. Did this young man just say that she was an immortal emperor? Did she look like an immortal emperor? You've got the wrong person. Although Yi Qingtang did not know what happened, she still denied it. "Got the wrong person?" The young man sized up Yi Qingtang for a long time and muttered, "That's not right either. Although you look the same, The clothes that the immortal emperor was wearing were different from yours. So you got the wrong person, Yi Qingtang repeated. Are you really not an immortal emperor? The young man asked doubtfully. TM, really not. Yi Qingtang shook her head. All right then. Perhaps I got the wrong person. However, you look like that immortal emperor. Are you twins? The young man stared at Yi Qingtang curiously. Can you tell me more? Yi Qingtang asked the youth. This matter was rather strange. She had just entered this strange world and did not even know anything about it. But this young man had so quickly recognized her as an immortal emperor. Sister Qingtang, I just came out of my house. I came here to pick herbs today. The young man started from the beginning. Yi Qingtang felt rather exasperated, but out of respect, she had no choice but to brace herself and listen to the youth drone on about what had happened earlier in the morning. After I went up the mountain, I saw an emperor-level practitioner being killed by an immortal emperor. That immortal emperor looks very similar to you. Also, that emperor said that the matter regarding the Temple of Paragon had nothing to do with him. He called the immortal emperor the Paragon and begged her to spare his life, or something like that. The young man fell into deep thought. Yi Qingtang's expression changed. Temple of Paragon. Paragon? Yi Qingtang was in disbelief. Yi Qingtang was very familiar with the Temple of Paragon, but how could there be one here? Was it a coincidence, or did the ancient god Karma tunnel send her back? This is the mixed heavens holy domain. Yi Qingtang blurted out as she looked at the youth. Mixed heavens holy domain. The young man looked at Yi Qingtang with a strange gaze and shook his head. Sister Qingtang, how can this be the mixed heavens holy domain? This is the divine venerate domain. The mixed heavens holy domain you mentioned is the second domain. Divine venerate domain? Yi Qingtang was even more shocked. In other words, after she entered the ancient god Karma tunnel, she had been teleported back and sent to the third domain. However, Yi Qingtang quickly realized that something was wrong. The young man said that the immortal emperor just now had the same appearance as her. Furthermore, she was the paragon of the Temple of Paragon. However, the Temple of Paragon's paragon had died a long time ago. Why would she appear in the third domain? Sister Qingtang, you must not speak nonsense about the immortal emperor. If you're not careful, you might bring about a fatal calamity. If you didn't save me just now, I wouldn't have told you so much, the young man said carefully to Yi Qingtang. Don't worry, I won't tell anyone. Yi Qingtang nodded. If you have problems with this website, please continue reading your novel on our new website, my thanks. By the way, Sister Qingtang, you're not from the Divine Venerate domain, are you? I think you look like someone from a Mixed Heavens Holy Domain. In recent years, many cultivators from the Mixed Heavens Holy Domain have barged into the Divine Venerate domain. They all want to make a name for themselves here. Unfortunately, it's very difficult because the experts from the Divine Venerate domain are too powerful. It's not easy even for natives like us to survive here. The youth stared at Yi Qingtang and sighed. Before Yi Qingtang could say anything, the young man continued. Sister Qingtang, over the past few days, someone is petitioning to confer the title of Third Emperor. He's called Han Songming or something like that. He's very powerful. Chapter 2579, New World 4, Han Songming. Yi Qingtang was completely stunned this time. Yi Qingtang was all too familiar with this name. The demon god, Han Songming, that powerful and mysterious man. Are you talking about the demon god? Yi Qingtang asked hurriedly. The young man was confused. Demon god? What demon god? I heard that the powerful figure called Han Songming is about to be conferred the title of Third Emperor, but has not been announced yet. Sister Qingtang, the Heavenly Emperor seems to have a grudge against Han Songming and has been chasing after him. Han Songming has not appeared much during this period of time. Heavenly Emperor, Yi Qingtang stood rooted to the ground in deep thought. Indeed, the Heavenly Emperor was in the third domain. The Blood Moon Holy Lord was a clone of the Heavenly Emperor, so Yi Qingtang had quite a few memories of the Heavenly Emperor. By the way, Sister Qingtang, is there something called the Dragon Emperor clan in your Mixed Heavens Holy Domain? They have been very famous recently. Their reputation has even spread to the divine venerate domain, the young man added. Oh, how did they become famous? Yi Qingtang asked. The Dragon Emperor clan was originally a branch of a major demon faction in the divine venerate domain. After falling out with the headquarters, they left the divine venerate domain and went to the mixed heavens holy domain. Recently, there were rumors that the Dragon Emperor clan wanted to control the entire second domain. Even a few immortal emperors were alarmed. The youth smiled at Yi Qingtang. Yi Qingtang had the reputation of the Dragon Emperor clan spread to the third domain. Sister Qingtang, there are many powerful experts in this world. I'm just a divine lord, like an ant, sigh, but I swear that I will become a powerful practitioner too. When I grow up, I want my name to shake the world. The young man's gaze was firm. Yi Qingtang smiled. This youth was behaving rather childishly. He was about 12 or 13 years old, and his heart filled with surging hot blood and naivety. He did not have the maturity which most children who grew up in clans had. What's your name? Yi Qingtang asked. Sister Qingtang. My name is Feng Juyo, the young man said. Feng Juyo. Yi Qingtang stared at the youth in shock. The one who destroyed the Sky Moon Tower with one slash of his sword. Don't ask when Feng Juyo will return. The third domain, Sage Emperor of Swords. Feng Juyo. Before Yi Qingtang was born, Feng Juyo was already famous throughout the world. He was the Sword Emperor and the focal point of the entire world. He once destroyed the famous Sky Moon Tower in the third domain with a single slash of his sword. After that, he disappeared without a trace and never appeared again. That was why there was a saying in the future, the one who destroyed the Sky Moon Tower with one slash of his sword. Don't ask when Feng Juyo will return. But which era was Feng Juyo from? That was a legendary figure from the same era as the Heavenly Emperor and Han Songming. Furthermore, how long had Feng Juyo disappeared for? If you have problems with this website, please continue reading your novel on our new website, my thanks. When Feng Juyo dominated the world, her own ancestors had probably not even been born yet, although the Heavenly Emperor, Han Songming, and the others were still alive. The lifespans of those experts were over tens of thousands of years. Feng Juyo, let me ask you, has the Heavenly Demon Tribe invaded the third domain? Yi Qingtang asked as she stared at the youth. Yi Qingtang read from history books that a few generations ago, there was a powerful race known as the Heavenly Demon Tribe. They broke through their seal and invaded the divine venerate domain. In this world, there was no one who did not know about the Heavenly Demon Tribe. They were a terrifying race that had once plunged the entire world into despair. The young man tilted his head and asked curiously, Sister Qingtang, what is this Heavenly Demon Tribe? Chapter 2580. In this era, 1. Yi Qingtang looked at the young man before her, Feng Juyo. Although she wanted to say something, in the end, she remained silent. The Heavenly Demon Tribe swept through the third domain several generations ago. Even a 3-year-old child knew about this, but this young divine lord in front of her knew nothing about them. He had never even heard of the Heavenly Demon Tribe. Coupled with everything that had happened before, including the fact that Han Songming was about to become the third emperor, Yi Qingtang gradually understood. This world was indeed the world she was familiar with. However, the only difference was that the era had changed. It was no longer the era she was familiar with. To be precise, the ancient God Karma Tunnel had sent her back in time to several generations ago. In this era, the former Sage Emperor of Swords, Feng Juyo, was just a 12-year-old naive youth who did not know anything about the world. Han Songming had yet to become the demon god, and the Heavenly Emperor was at his peak. The whole situation was completely unfamiliar to Yi Qingtang. This was an era where everything was in full bloom. The peak forces were all vying for supremacy. Opportunities and despair coexisted side by side. Some of the peerless expert practitioners who would go on to be renowned had not even appeared yet. The Heavenly Demon Tribe who would bring about endless despair had also yet to make their appearance. This was really a confusing era. A complicated glint flashed across Yi Qingtang's eyes. She never expected that she would come to this era one day. Do you really not know about the heavenly demon tribe? Yi Qingtang stared at Feng Jiuyo. She was still a little puzzled. The idea of traveling back in time was truly bewildering. However, the young Feng Jiuyo just tilted his head and looked at Yi Qingtang. He shook his head in confusion. Sister Qingtang, I don't know anything about the heavenly demon tribe. I've heard of demons, demon beasts, giants, and many other races, but I've never heard of any heavenly demon tribe. Looking at Feng Jiu's pure and naive expression, Yi Qingtang was increasingly certain that the ancient god Karma Tunnel had indeed sent her to an earlier era. Perhaps it was hundreds of years ago, or thousands of years ago, or even tens of thousands of years ago. The exact time could not be determined at this moment. Jiuyo, can you tell me more about Han Saming? Yi Qingtang looked at the young Feng Jiuyo. Feng Jiuyo replied, Han Saming. I've only heard of him. It's just that his name has been on the rise recently. He was completely unknown in the past. Anyway, I know that he offended the Heavenly Emperor and is now being pursued by him. Understood. Yi Qingtang nodded. Her expression shifted slightly as she continued to look at Feng Jiuyo. This naive young man in front of her would become an existence that she would highly respect in the future. Back then, Yi Qingtang read about some of Feng Jiu's achievements and records in the history books and was full of admiration for him. To Yi Qingtang, Feng Jiuyo was simply a legend. Yi Qingtang never expected to have Feng Jiuyo stand in front of her one day and call her big sister. In the future, you will definitely become a super powerful figure respected by everyone. Yi Qingtang stared at Feng Jiuyo and smiled. Feng Jiuyo's eyes flickered. Sister Qingtang, I will definitely become an expert. Although I don't have a powerful bloodline or genius martial arts talent, what I do have is determination and perseverance. Chapter 2581. In this era, too, Yi Qingtang fell into deep thought. After Yi Qingtang knew what era she was indeed a little excited and still in disbelief. All legends, miracles, and the unexpected were basically born in this era. Just the sound of it would make one's blood surge with excitement. But after some careful thought, she was just an ordinary divine lord. No matter how exciting this era was, it had nothing to do with her. Of course, Yi Qingtang did not want to get involved herself. In such an era, she would be very satisfied if she could personally witness the birth of those legends and miracles, some of which had not even been recorded in history. But then came another question. How would she return? The ancient god Karma Tunnel was indeed profound and endless, but this mysterious and infinite tunnel didn't tell her how she could return to her own era, nor did it tell her the time limit. Based on what the big yellow dog had said before, unless you ended up in the doomed hell, one could return if they were in a blessed paradise or unknown land. But now, she had no idea how to do that. However, she had just arrived at this brand new era, so there was no point in thinking too much. As for when she could return to her own era, she could only take things one step at a time. Sister Qingtang, this is for you. The young Feng Jiuyo wiped his hands and took out an herb. He then handed it to Yi Qingtang. Yi Qingtang recognized this herb. It was called dream-searching grass and was a very rare herb. Sister Qingtang, you saved me. I don't know how to repay you. The young Feng Jiuyo smiled at Yi Qingtang. I spent a lot of effort to secretly get this herb. No need. It was a piece of cake for me to save you just now. Furthermore, this herb of yours is useless to me. Keep it for yourself. Yi Qingtang looked at Feng Jiuyo and smiled. Feng Jiuyo was deep in thought after hearing Yi Qingtang's words. After a while, he said, Sister Qingtang, you previously said that you are not a native and are unfamiliar with this place. So, where are you planning to go where? Yi Qingtang scanned her surroundings. She did not know where she should go. She had only thought about re-entering the ancient god Karma Tunnel, but now the tunnel had transported her to this past era. Yi Qingtang did not know what her next step would be. Although she was no stranger to this world, the people she was familiar with had not been bombed yet. especially since she was in the third domain and had never visited the divine venerate domain before. She was very unfamiliar with everything there. Wonder if there is any way to obtain the power of the heart of the heavenly Tao in this era. Yi Qingtang thought to herself. Seeing Yi Qingtang remain silent, the young Feng Juyo tugged at the corner of her clothes and smiled. Sister Qingtang, do you want to come home with me? Sister Qingtang, please come to my house as a guest. After pondering for a moment, Yi Qingtang finally nodded and agreed. There should not be any problem visiting Feng Juyu's house. The most important thing now was to find a place to settle down and figure out the situation of this era. Otherwise, she would be like a headless fly wandering around the divine venerate domain. If she was not careful, she might even lose her life. Chapter 2582. In this era, 3, after Yi Qingtang agreed, Feng Juyo excitedly dragged her along. Along the way, Yi Qingtang learned about the situation in Feng Juyu's house from him. The Feng family was just an extremely ordinary and small family. It was not like what was recorded in history, that he was born in a major faction in the third domain. They did not have any powerful bloodline, especially Feng Juyo, whose martial arts skills were only mediocre. But he worked harder than any of his peers. Feng Juyo had already spent a lot of effort to be able to become a divine lord, and he seemed to be stuck at this level. Therefore, Feng Juyo took the risk to head up the mountain to see if he could find some precious herbs to help him break through his bottleneck. Yi Qingtang could not believe it. Feng Juyo would become such a formidable force in the future. To think that he was so mediocre as a youth, and someone who took so much effort just to break through to the Divine Lord stage. In the future, Feng Juyo would be famous for killing and becoming the Sage Emperor of Swords. There were even records in history that Feng Juyo had long surpassed himself. In that attack against the Sky Moon Tower, Feng Juyo shattered the void, broke through the Tao, and became an immortal, going on to an even higher realm. Of course, most people didn't believe in such legends. It was said that those who broke the Tao could achieve immortality, but who had ever seen a true immortal? It was said that those who broke through the Tao would go on to an even higher realm, but who had seen that realm? In the hearts of the people, all that was just a beautiful lie to motivate the martial arts practitioners of the world in their endless pursuit of immortality. Even Yi Qingtang had not believed in that. She thought that after Feng Juyu's attack, he might have just died from overexhaustion. However, Yi Qingtang had now overturned all her previous conjectures because of the yellow dog. It turned out that there was indeed an upper realm. Could it be that the former supreme experts, such as Feng Juyo, had disrupted the natural laws of the world and broken through the void, becoming immortals and entering the upper realm? The big yellow dog once said that as long as one had enough strength, they could disrupt the natural laws in the lower realm and become qualified to enter the upper realm. Perhaps Feng Juyo and those former supreme experts from even earlier eras did not die. Yi Qingtang also thought of something else. The ancient god karma tunnel sent her to this era. If she caused some changes now, would it result in some chain reaction into the future? For example, if she killed a certain expert in this era, then returned to her own era, would that expert still exist? Did that mean he and his descendants would all disappear? Or what would happen if she became good friends with the Heavenly Emperor or the demon god Han Songming in this era? Would their memories change after she returned to her own era? To put it simply, now that she was acquainted with the young Feng Juyo, if she returned to her own era and met Feng Juyo again, would Feng Juyo remember her? If she didn't do anything in this era that would change in the future, that was fine. But if her actions directly affected the future world, Chapter 2583. In this era, 4, Sister Qingtang, were here. This is my house. Just as Yi Qingtang was deep in thought, the young Feng Juyo tugged at the corner of her clothes. It was only after hearing Feng Juyo that Yi Qingtang returned to her senses. Directly ahead was a mansion with a plaque hanging above. Feng family. Jiuyo, call me Yi Yi Qingtang suddenly said. Feng Jiuyo was slightly taken aback by Yi Qingtang's words, and he looked at her in confusion. Sister Qingtang, didn't you say that your name was Yi Qingtang? Now it's Yiyu? Feng Jiuyo had never heard that a person's name could change. Jiuyo, I met you for the first time and am not familiar with you, so I did not tell you my real name. Yi Qingtang casually lied. The reason why she could not use Yi Qingtang's name was that she did not know whether this era would affect the future. Therefore, it was better to use another name. It was better to be safe than sorry. All right, Sister Yiyu. This name is much better than Yi Qingtang anyway. Feng Jiuyo smiled. Yi Qingtang. Sister Yu, let's enter, said Feng Jiuyo. Yi Qingtang nodded and entered the Feng estate with Feng Jiuyo. The Feng family was different from large clans flourishing with numerous members. There were not many people in this family. Including the Feng disciples, there were only about a dozen people. As soon as she entered the Feng residence, Yi Qingtang saw many youths who were about the same age as Feng Jiuyo. Every single one of these youths possessed a cultivation at least at the second heaven level divine lord. The highest among them had already reached the fourth heaven level. Seeing this scene, Yi Qingtang could not help but sigh. How old were these youths? They already had the power of a divine lord at such a young age. Even in the mixed heavens holy domain, they would be considered rare, genius talents. Of course, the martial arts culture in the mixed heavens holy domain was still much inferior to the divine venerate domain. Therefore, Yi Qingtang was not surprised that these youths already had the cultivation level of a divine lord at such a young age. Jiuyo, who is this sister? A young man walked over and sized up Yi Qingtang curiously. She's Sister Yiyu. I met her outside. Sister Yiyu helped me when I was in danger. Feng Jiuyo smiled. Hello, Sister Yu. The young man greeted Yi Qingtang very politely. Yi Qingtang smiled and nodded at the youth. Qingtang, no, Sister Yu, these are my siblings, Feng Jiuyo introduced. Sister Yiyu is really good looking. She's even better looking than the eldest daughter of the Fengyan family. The young man smiled. Yi Qingtang, if you have problems with this website, please continue reading your novel on our new website, my thanks. This young man was so good with words. Sister Yu, let's go. They'll take you to see my father and mother. Feng Jiuyo grabbed Yi Qingtang and strode towards the inner hall. In the inner hall, a young couple was grinding some herbs. When they saw Feng Jiuyo enter with an unfamiliar woman, they immediately stopped and looked at Yi Qingtang. Jiuyo, who is this lady? Mother Feng asked. Mother, this is Sister Yiyu. She came from the mixed heavens holy domain. When I was in danger, it was Sister Yiyu who saved me, said Feng Jiuyo. Jiuyo, what's wrong with you today? Mother Feng frowned as he looked at Feng Jiuyo. He was already at this age. Why was he getting up to mischief every day? Furthermore, this was not the only time. It seemed that Feng Jiuyo would encounter a few crises every month, which made Mother Feng extremely worried. Miss Yiyu, is it? Thank you. Mother Feng smiled at Yi Qingtang. Yi Qingtang shook her head and said softly, it was nothing. In fact, Yi Qingtang did not expect that a divine lord practitioner like Feng Jiuyo would be afraid of water. By the way, I heard from Jiuyo that Miss Yiyu is not a local. Are you from the mixed heavens holy domain? After a while, Father Feng stepped forward and asked Yi Qingtang. That's right. I am indeed from the mixed heavens holy domain. Yi Qingtang nodded. This is my first time in the divine venerate domain, and I happened to meet Feng Jiuyo who fell into the water, and I saved him. Falling into the water, Mother Feng sized up Feng Jiuyo with an unhappy expression. Jiuyo, you went to MT Zhong again? Feng Jiuyo chuckled uneasily. His parents never allowed him to go to such places. He always had to sneak over there. Miss Yiyu, this must seem like a joke to you. This is not the first time Jiuyo has fallen into the water. Although he is a divine lord, he gets nervous the moment he falls into the water, Father Feng said to Yi Qingtang. Yi Qingtang did not say much about this. It was just that she did not expect the future famous Feng Jiuyo to know about the fear water. After a while, Mother Feng said to Yi Qingtang, "Miss Yu is really something. You came to the divine venerate domain from the mixed heavens holy domain all alone. Do you have any relatives or friends here?" "No, I just wanted to experience the divine venerate domain," Yi Qingtang said with a smile. "Dad, Mom, Sister Yiyu is unfamiliar with this place and doesn't have any friends here. Why don't we let Sister Yiyu stay here for a few days so that she can get to know this place better?" Feng Jiuyo suggested. Father Feng stared at Yi Qingtang thoughtfully. After a long while, he looked at Mother Feng, who nodded and said to Yi Qingtang, "Miss Yiyu, although our Feng family is just a small family clan, we have many guest rooms. If you don't mind, you can stay here for a few days. How about that?" "Thank you, and I am sorry to trouble you," Yi Qingtang responded. It would be best for Yi Qingtang if she could stay in the Feng family for a few days. Yi Qingtang glanced towards Father and Mother Feng and considered them. Their skills were not considered strong either. They were only at the second heaven level Divine Lord. Not everyone in the Divine Venerate domain was an expert. Most practitioners had average martial arts skills and did not have outstanding bloodline powers. Most peaked at the fourth heaven level Divine Lord. Only an extremely small percentage of practitioners managed to enter the Immortal Emperor stage. Actually, small factions did produce many descendants and disciples whose martial arts strength was extremely strong. They displayed extremely powerful bloodline powers and martial arts talent from a young age. However, it was rather common for such folks to die prematurely in the Divine Venerate domain. Many regions were under the control of massive factions. Those large factions would never allow those talented martial arts practitioners from the small factions to survive. Once discovered, they would use all sorts of methods to destroy them. To wonder what Miss Yiyu's cultivation level is? I can't deduce it at all. Father Feng examined Yi Qingtang. Compared to the Divine Venerate domain, the level of the martial arts culture in the Mixed Heavens Holy Domain was indeed inferior. Although there were many Emperor-level experts and immortal emperors in the Mixed Heavens Holy Domain, their numbers were still much fewer compared to the Divine Venerate domain. Their skills quality was also inferior. Divine Lord level. Yi Qingtang answered truthfully. "Oh." Father Feng's eyes lit up. Yi Qingtang found Father Feng's expression rather strange. A Divine Lord should be considered only an ordinary cultivator to the Divine Venerate domain. For example, Feng Jiuyo and the rest had already entered the Divine Lord stage at such a young age. If they were in the second domain, they would be considered extremely formidable. There were probably only a handful of 12 to 13-year-old Divine Lords in the entire Mixed Heavens Holy Domain. Of course, there had been an 8-heaven-level Divine Lord in the Mixed Heavens Holy Domain who was only about 10 years old. But that was an exception and not the norm. Yi Qingtang followed Feng Jiuyo to the guest room. In the blink of an eye, Yi Qingtang had been in the Feng family residence for 2 days. During those 2 days, Yi Qingtang did not remain idle. She had already scouted everything that needed to be investigated. Yi Qingtang was at the bottom of the mountain called Mtizhong. This place belonged to the north of the Divine Venerate domain, and there were many small factions within a radius of hundreds of kilometers. The Feng family was one of them. Furthermore, in Mtizhong, the other races were the most powerful. Although the Feng family had many Divine Lords, the family's strength and status were at the bottom of the hierarchy in Mtizhong. Over the past 2 days, Yi Qingtang managed to gather only this bit of information. As for how she could leave this era and obtain the energy of the heart of the heavenly Tao, she did not have a clue. All in all, this made Yi Qingtang feel rather helpless. In the current situation, Yi Qingtang could only take things one step at a time. In this strange era where martial arts flourished and demons thrived, with Yi Qingtang's skill level, there was not much that she could not do. She was like a lonely boat in the sea, drifting along with the waves. At noon, in the guest room, Yi Qingtang slowly opened her eyes and a red light flashed across her brows. 7th Heaven Level Divine Lord. Yi Qingtang was amazed. It had only been 2 days since she came to this strange era, but Yi Qingtang's cultivation level had already broken through from the 5th heaven level to the 7th. This speed was unbelievable to Yi Qingtang. According to the norm, if she was in the mixed heavens holy domain, it would take at least half a year for her to break through from the 5th to the 6th heaven level. If she was unlucky, it might even take several years or decades. However, in just 2 days after arriving at this era, Yi Qingtang actually advanced 2 consecutive levels to the 7th heaven level Divine Lord. Even Yi Qingtang found it hard to believe. No one would believe her if she told them. It was just too ridiculous. What's going on? Yi Qingtang sat on the couch with a strange expression. Yi Qingtang lowered her head and looked at her heart. The seal that the Divine Phoenix had placed on the heart of Heavenly Tao was already very loose. Even if the heart of Heavenly Tao was not absorbing her cultivation and limiting her growth, it would still be impossible for her to reach the 7th heaven level so quickly. Yi Qingtang closed her eyes and examined herself. Something must have gone wrong. In this era, especially in the divine venerate domain, the spirit energy was much richer than in the mixed heavens holy domain. However, no matter how rich the spirit energy was, it should not have such an abnormal rate of growth. Within the Divine Lord stage, the progress between each heaven level was extremely slow. How could one's martial strength soar from the 5th heaven level to the 7th in just 2 days? 7th heaven level Divine Lord. Before Yi Qingtang could examine herself, the red light between her brows flashed again. What's going on? Yi Qingtang opened her eyes quickly, filled with shock. She had just broken through to the 7th heaven level Divine Lord. She had not done anything at all, but now she had progressed to the 8th. If this continued, wouldn't she become an Emperor-level expert practitioner soon? Divine Lord, early 9th heaven level. It had happened in just a few breaths' time. Yi Qingtang was dumbstruck. Her cultivation level had once again advanced, and somehow she was now at the 9th heaven level. It was common knowledge that there were only 9 heaven levels in the Divine Lord stage. If she continued to break through, she would become a sub-emperor and then an emperor level. Can I continue to break through? At that moment, for some reason, Yi Qingtang was secretly looking forward to it. It would be best if she directly broke through to the emperor level. Yi Qingtang could not be bothered to ask why this was happening. Anyway, with these breakthroughs, her strength would be increased by more than 100 times. This was a good thing for Yi Qingtang. However, Yi Qingtang's expectations fell through in the end. After her cultivation level reached the mid-stage 9th heaven level Divine Lord, and she was just about to become a sub-emperor, there was suddenly no more movement. It was as if everything that had happened before was just an illusion. If not for her full strength and aura as a 9th heaven level Divine Lord, Yi Qingtang might have thought that she had just been hallucinating. The power of the heavenly demon bloodline. After about 15 minutes, Yi Qingtang returned to her senses. Her bloodline was actually devouring her divine phoenix bloodline. All along, Yi Qingtang had 2 bloodline powers in her body. The first bloodline was a variant heavenly demon bloodline that could devour all things. The other bloodline was the divine phoenix bloodline she had obtained from the divine phoenix's legacy. However, for a long time, both bloodlines had coexisted harmoniously inside her. They minded their own business, and there was never any sign of bloodline rejection. But now, for some reason, the heavenly demon bloodline was crazily attacking the divine phoenix bloodline in her body. This was not a good thing for Yi Qingtang. Although the devouring power made her heavenly demon bloodline stronger, her divine phoenix bloodline would completely disappear if this continued. Yi Qingtang was very grateful to the divine phoenix. Not only did she inherit the divine phoenix's legacy, but it was also the divine phoenix who helped her seal the heart of heavenly Tao back then. How could Yi Qingtang watch as the divine phoenix bloodline was completely absorbed by the heavenly demon bloodline. However, Yi Qingtang was powerless to stop it. Not only that, Yi Qingtang was shocked to discover that the power of the divine phoenix in her body did not resist at all. In the blink of an eye, it was completely devoured by the mutated heavenly demon bloodline. Yi Qingtang frowned slightly. In this current situation, she really did not know whether to laugh or cry. Within moments, the power of the divine phoenix bloodline had been completely devoured by the extremely domineering heavenly demon devouring bloodline. Not a single drop remained. Actually, Yi Qingtang knew all along. The mutated heavenly demon devouring bloodline could devour everything. It could even devour heaven and earth. The reason why the heavenly demon devouring bloodline had not stirred in her body for so long and why it did not attack the divine phoenix bloodline was entirely because the former's power was still weak and it did not dare to provoke the latter. But for some reason, just a few days after arriving in this strange era, not only had Yi Qingtang broken through from the 5th heaven level divine lord to the mid-stage 9th level extremely quickly, she was also very close to the sub-emperor stage. Even her heavenly demon devouring bloodline had become much more powerful than before. In Yi Qingtang's era, her heavenly demon devouring bloodline was still weak like an infant. However, the situation was different now. This infant had suddenly grown into a burly man and was no longer afraid. He finally made a move on the divine phoenix bloodline. Not only that, after completely devouring the divine phoenix bloodline, Yi Qingtang could clearly feel that her heavenly demon devouring bloodline had grown by too much. Yi Qingtang looked at the cup on the table and reached out her hand. In the next second, the water glass shattered and the water in it tumbled into natural energy that was absorbed into Yi Qingtang's body. The scene made Yi Qingtang speechless. Fortunately, she could still control the heavenly demon devouring bloodline. Otherwise, wouldn't the bloodline devour her too? One extremely domineering bloodline power. Unfortunately, although her heavenly demon devouring bloodline was extremely domineering, it could not differentiate between friend and foe. When it completely swallowed the divine phoenix bloodline, Yi Qingtang vaguely felt that she had let the divine phoenix down. No matter what, before Yi Qingtang had time to feel guilty, a red flame instantly surged out of her palm. What? Yi Qingtang was startled. This kind of flame was exclusive to the divine phoenix bloodline, and her divine phoenix bloodline had already been devoured by the heavenly demon bloodline. Why was she still able to use the power of the divine phoenix bloodline? Everything that was happening had completely exceeded Yi Qingtang's understanding. Am I in a blessed paradise? Yi Qingtang muttered in surprise. However, Yi Qingtang quickly rejected that notion. This place was completely different from the wonderland that the big yellow dog mentioned. But if it was not a wonderland, how to explain everything that had happened? In just 2 days, she had advanced from the 5th heaven level divine lord to a cultivation level that was close to that of a sub-emperor. Even her heavenly demon devouring bloodline had undergone a significant leap. Furthermore, she could still use the power of the divine phoenix bloodline, which had been devoured by the heavenly demon bloodline. It was all too unbelievable. Before Yi Qingtang could think further, the originally red flame in her palm turned pitch black. It was like an eternal fire from the deepest depths of hell. Could this be? Yi Qingtang stared at the black flame in her palm thoughtfully. This power was countless times stronger than the divine phoenix bloodline. In the guest room, Yi Qingtang tilted her head and sized up the black flame in her palm. The only thing she was certain of now was that her divine phoenix bloodline had indeed been devoured. However, Yi Qingtang could not understand why this could happen after that bloodline was devoured. Could it be that, after the heavenly demon bloodline devours other bloodlines, in addition to strengthening the heavenly demon bloodline, the attributes and power of the devoured bloodline can also be completely preserved? Yi Qingtang was deep in thought. For now, that was the only explanation. Actually, this was very logical. Yi Qingtang's mutated heavenly demon bloodline was like a huge water vat, while the water in the vat was the bloodline swallowed by it. The water was still there, but it had entered the water vat from another place and strengthened it. Like this, the water itself was still preserved. Furthermore, this water tank was simply a bottomless pit. No matter how much water was poured in, it would not overflow. Although Yi Qingtang had the heavenly demon bloodline, she rarely used it. All along, Yi Qingtang used the divine phoenix bloodline more often. However, the growth of the divine phoenix bloodline was slow and could not be compared to the heavenly demon bloodline at all, much less the mutated version. Regardless, the thing that troubled Yi Qingtang the most was why her cultivation level improved so quickly after she came to this era. She had not practiced any cultivation at all, while her heavenly demon-devouring bloodline also received an unimaginable enhancement. Forcing herself to calm down, Yi Qingtang started to examine her body. When martial arts practitioners focused their minds, especially after they reached the Divine Lord stage, they would be able to sense the changes in their bodies. They could even use their perception to display specific details, which were even clearer than using the naked eye to observe. After observing for a long time, Yi Qingtang finally found some clues. Above her dantian was an indescribable black vortex, and inside the vortex was a pitch-black pearl. Heavenly demon pearl? Yi Qingtang's expression changed. She did not recognize the heavenly demon pearl at first glance, but after thinking for a while, Yi Qingtang snapped out of her trance. What else could that black pearl in her dantian be but the heavenly demon pearl? Back then, when she was still in the first domain, the little azure dragon disguised itself as a master refiner and brought her into the dragon vein. There were 3 legacies in the dragon vein. The most precious and powerful legacy was the heavenly demon. Yi Yu had obtained the heavenly demon legacy first, but later fell into Ling Yan's trap. To save herself, Yi Yu had no choice but to spit out the heavenly demon pearl. After that, the heavenly demon pearl landed in Yi Qingtang's hands. Yi Qingtang had always kept this heavenly demon pearl in her dantian, but did not see any miraculous effects. As time passed, Yi Qingtang completely forgot about the heavenly demon pearl. As Yi Qingtang continued to examine herself, she saw the heavenly demon pearl. Only then did she remember. At this moment, an extremely majestic, demonic aura radiated from the heavenly demon pearl, fusing with the heavenly demon-devouring bloodline. When the heavenly demon-devouring bloodline encountered the heavenly demon pearl, it was like a water dragon entering the sea. An unbelievable change occurred. The heavenly demon-devouring bloodline became increasingly domineering and powerful. The luster of the heavenly demon pearl also became brighter. It was also because of this that Yi Qingtang's cultivation level advanced by an unimaginable margin. However, Yi Qingtang was frustrated to see that a small portion of the energy had been absorbed by her heart of the heavenly Tao. Even though the seal on the heart of heavenly Tao had not been completely removed, it could already automatically absorb Yi Qingtang's power due to the loosening. If not for the heart of heavenly Tao, Yi Qingtang might have already become a sub-emperor. Chapter 2589, Battle of the Kings 1. Not only did the heart of heavenly Tao not bring Yi Qingtang any benefits, but also kept absorbing her cultivation level and snatching her good fortune from her. It seemed to be the case that the heart of the heavenly Tao brought her indescribable bad luck. At that moment, Yi Qingtang's eyes flickered. Some thoughts formed in her mind. Yi Qingtang now knew that the heavenly demon-devouring bloodline in her body was very powerful and domineering. In that case, could the heavenly demon-devouring bloodline absorb all the power from her heart of the heavenly Tao? At the thought of this, Yi Qingtang's expression changed slightly, and an indescribable glint surfaced in her eyes. If the mutant heavenly demon bloodline in her body could really absorb the power of the heart of the heavenly Tao in her, It would be a huge blessing for her. However, Yi Qingtang was in a dilemma. Although her idea was not bad, how could she let her heavenly demon-devouring bloodline know the existence of the heart of the heavenly Tao and discover its power? Even though the heavenly demon-devouring bloodline had an extremely domineering, devouring ability, it was useless if it could not discover the Tao energy of the heart of the heavenly Tao. The situation was different from before. The divine phoenix bloodline did not have a shell wrapped around it, nor did it conceal the aura of its own bloodline. Therefore, the heavenly demon-devouring bloodline had long coveted the divine phoenix bloodline, while the heart of heavenly Tao was a little special. Firstly, the heart was a shell, and the Tao power was hidden deep inside. There was no reason for the heavenly demon-devouring bloodline to pay special attention to its owner's heart. If she wanted the heavenly demon-devouring bloodline to meet the heart of the heavenly Tao, the bloodline would need some guidance. The heart of the heavenly Tao cannot be controlled. Yi Qingtang was deep in thought, so it was now down to whether she could control the power of the heavenly demon-devouring bloodline. If she could not direct the power of the heavenly demon-devouring bloodline, then she would have to give up this idea. It would be useless. Yi Qingtang tried to communicate with the power of the heavenly demon-devouring bloodline. Initially, the heavenly demon-devouring bloodline seemed to be rather unwilling to follow Yi Qingtang's instructions. However, in the end, the heavenly demon-devouring bloodline compromised and was guided by Yi Qingtang to slowly search for the heart. After about an hour, Yi Qingtang was already sweating profusely. Under Yi Qingtang's guidance, the heavenly demon-devouring bloodline finally met the heart of the heavenly Tao. It had to be said that even though Yi Qingtang was close to the sub-emperor stage, it was still very difficult for her to control the power of the heavenly demon-devouring bloodline. Fortunately, the heavenly demon-devouring bloodline was relatively cooperative. If it refused to cooperate with her, Yi visit Riedel. Me for extra chapters. Qingtang would be helpless. The heavenly demon-devouring bloodline had just swallowed her divine emperor bloodline. Yi Qingtang had no choice but to humble herself to it. At that moment, Yi Qingtang continued to carefully guide the power of the heavenly demon-devouring bloodline. If she was careless and the heavenly demon-devouring bloodline swallowed her entire heart, she would end up dying for nothing. Under Yi Qingtang's careful guidance, the heavenly demon-devouring bloodline gently surrounded the heart of heavenly Tao in Yi Qingtang's body. After waiting quietly for a long time, Yi Qingtang realized that her heart of the heavenly Tao did not have any reaction at all. It seemed to remain in a deep sleep. If you find any errors, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know so we can fix it as soon as possible. Tip: you can use left, right, A, and D keyboard keys to browse between chapters. Chapter 2590, Battle of the Kings 2. Gradually, Yi Qingtang could sense that her heavenly demon-devouring bloodline was resisting her. It wanted to come back the way it came and did not want to waste time here. Yi Qingtang frowned slightly. Could it be that even the heavenly demon-devouring bloodline could not devour the power of the heart of the heavenly Tao? Yi Qingtang did not think too much and let the heavenly demon-devouring bloodline radiate an extremely overbearing, engulfing power. As this power erupted near her heart, Yi Qingtang's heart of heavenly Tao finally moved. The heart of heavenly Tao, which was still sealed, was awakened by the engulfing power radiated by the heavenly demon bloodline. It seemed to instinctively burst out with a rich Tao power. In the next second, Yi Qingtang's face turned pale and a stream of blood trickled down the corner of her lips. In her current state, Yi Qingtang could not withstand too much of the Tao power emitted by the heart of the heavenly Tao. It was unlike the power of the heavenly demon bloodline, which was originally a part of Yi Qingtang's body. Therefore, No matter how domineering and powerful the heavenly demon-devouring bloodline was, it would not harm Yi Qingtang. However, the heart of the heavenly Tao was different. The great Tao power of the heart of the heavenly Tao was not part of Yi Qingtang. Therefore, Yi Qingtang could not endure it too much. However, Yi Qingtang gritted her teeth and endured it. She must not give up at this critical juncture, or all her efforts would be for naught. Attack! A cold glint flashed across Yi Qingtang's eyes as she gave the heavenly demon-devouring bloodline an order. However, what surprised Yi Qingtang was that this time, the heavenly demon-devouring bloodline did not comply. Instead, it paced around the heart of the heavenly Tao very cautiously. It did not attack nor retreat. In the next second, the heavenly demon-devouring bloodline near her heart increased and became more intense. As the intensity of the heavenly demon bloodlines increased, the heart of the heavenly Tao also had a defensive reaction, wanting to isolate the heavenly demon-devouring bloodline. At this moment, the heavenly demon-devouring bloodline had completely surrounded the heart of the heavenly Tao. It was like a beast lying dormant, waiting for its prey to make a mistake and deliver a fatal blow. "Don't disappoint me," Yi Qingtang muttered as she observed the situation in her body. As long as the heavenly demon bloodline swallowed all the Tao power of the heart of the heavenly Tao, the heavenly demon-devouring bloodline would undergo a qualitative leap again and might even produce an even greater mutation. Meanwhile, Yi Qingtang could completely transform the great Tao power into her own. It would be like killing two birds with one stone. In the next second, the power of the heavenly demon bloodline erupted with a covetous and overbearing engulfing energy, instantly swallowing the entire core of the heart of the heavenly Tao. Fortunately, the heavenly demon bloodline knew its limits. It only devoured the defensive Tao power of the heart of the heavenly Tao, all the while remaining conscious of Yi Qingtang's heart, and did not injure it at all. After about half an hour later, Yi Qingtang saw that the heavenly demon bloodline had completely devoured a portion of the Tao power. However, the actions of the heavenly demon-devouring bloodline seemed to have completely enraged the heart of the heavenly Tao. Yi Qingtang's body seemed to have become a huge battlefield, with the heavenly demon-devouring bloodline and the heart of the heavenly Tao as the two main opposing forces. Dumbstruck, Yi Qingtang could only watch on as the battle raged inside her body between the two sides. This was a battle between two mighty kings. The power of the heavenly demon-devouring bloodline was too domineering. The second wave of power released by the heart of the heavenly Tao was absorbed by the heavenly demon-devouring bloodline once more. Yi Qingtang finally understood the true terror of the heavenly demon-devouring bloodline. The other terrifying bloodlines that Yi Qingtang knew of would not even be able to raise their heads in front of the heavenly demon-devouring bloodline. Perhaps not even the lady in green and the heavenly demon tribe themselves had expected the mutated heavenly demon-devouring bloodline to be so terrifying. It could devour everything, be it cultivation levels, bloodlines, or anything else. They could all be forcibly absorbed by the heavenly demon-devouring bloodline. Yi Qingtang knew that once knowledge of this bloodline was spread out, she would definitely be killed. No one would wish for the existence of the heavenly demon-devouring bloodline in this world. They would not want their strength and bloodline would be swallowed by others. The heavenly demon-devouring bloodline could be classified as a public enemy. It was a truly forbidden bloodline. Since ancient times, there were only a few forbidden bloodlines recorded in history books. The heavenly demon-devouring bloodline was one of them. However, even a mutated heavenly demon-devouring bloodline noted in the historical records was not as domineering as the one in Yi Qingtang's body. The battle within her body continued. The heart of the heavenly Tao seemed to be in a defensive state and did not release its full power. It seemed to have some concerns and was unwilling to waste the great Tao power. With the immense Tao power of the heart of the heavenly Tao, if it went all out, even the heavenly demon-devouring bloodline might not have any chance of winning. Just a trace of the great Tao power unleashed by the heart of the heavenly Tao had nearly caused grievous injury to the heavenly demon-devouring bloodline. Who knew how much more Tao power was contained in the heart of the heavenly Tao? Yi Qingtang had already made up her mind that once the heavenly demon-devouring bloodline lost, she would immediately take away the heavenly demon bloodline and not let anything happen to it. This bloodline was too important to Yi Qingtang, and she could not afford to risk it. However, Yi Qingtang did not expect that after the 2 waves of attacks from the heavenly demon-devouring bloodline, the heart of the heavenly Tao suddenly retreated into her heart, not giving the heavenly demon-devouring bloodline any chance to continue devouring. No matter how the heavenly demon-devouring bloodline provoked it, the heart of the heavenly Tao ignored it. It was as if the heart of the heavenly Tao was sentient and knew that the heavenly demon-devouring bloodline would not dare to touch the heart. After a while, the heavenly demon-devouring bloodline finally gave up. It waited for its master to give it the next order. Helpless, Yi Qingtang could only guide the heavenly demon-devouring bloodline back the way it came. It didn't work. Yi Qingtang wiped the blood off the corner of her lips and mused. The heavenly demon-devouring bloodline was indeed extremely domineering, but if the heart of the heavenly Tao had fought seriously, the heavenly demon-devouring bloodline would not stand any advantage. Furthermore, the current heavenly demon-devouring bloodline had not truly grown to its peak. Moreover, the heart of the heavenly Tao continued to hide. Yi Qingtang and the heavenly demon-devouring bloodline could not do anything to it. However, although Yi Qingtang's idea did not succeed, she still gained a lot this time. The Tao energy devoured by the heavenly demon-devouring bloodline was stronger than anything Yi Qingtang had encountered in the past. In the next second, Yi Qingtang's eyes turned completely white and even her pupils disappeared. This the power of the great Tao. Yi Qingtang muttered and pointed at the empty space in front of her. The sound of glass breaking rang out. At that moment, Yi Qingtang was completely expressionless. Her face was cold and her eyes were completely white. Coldness surrounded her as if she had already escaped the boundaries of humanity and morphed into the unknown. With that point of her finger, Yi Qingtang shattered the void and formed a finger-sized black hole. Soon after, the damaged black hole was quickly repaired and Yi Qingtang's snow-white eyes returned to normal. Yi Qingtang gasped lightly. The power of the great Tao alone was terrifying. It was as if she was standing at the top of the world and wanted to step on everything. It was so dangerous that it could even make her lose her mind. Having returned to normal now, Yi Qingtang was extremely shocked. The heavenly demon-devouring bloodline only swallowed a trace of the great Tao power, but this sliver of energy was already so terrifying. If she could absorb all the great Tao power, what would happen then? However, it seemed that as long as the heart of the heavenly Tao remained hidden, she and the heavenly demon-devouring bloodline did not have any good solution. Nevertheless, Yi Qingtang was not discouraged. No matter what, she had already succeeded somewhat. She had managed to snatch some of the Tao power, and this was enough to prove that it was possible. As for how she could snatch all the great Tao power from the heart of the heavenly Tao, she could only wait for an opportunity. Surely there should be a way to fulfill her wish in this era. Yi Qingtang checked her body again. The heavenly demon bloodline had also suffered a major blow just now. However, with the heavenly demon pearl, the heavenly demon-devouring bloodline's recovery speed was also extremely fast, so Yi Qingtang did not need to worry too much. However, there was still something that Yi Qingtang did not understand. Why did the power of the heavenly demon bloodline and the heavenly demon pearl improve so much after she arrived in this era? If she had the chance, she had to study this matter. Perhaps there was still a chance for her heavenly demon pearl and a heavenly demon-devouring bloodline to improve. Sister Yiyu. Just as Yi Qingtang was deep in thought, the young Feng Jiuyo shouted from outside and knocked on the door. Getting to her feet, Yi Qingtang walked over to open the door. Looking at the sweating Feng Jiuyo, she asked curiously, "Jiuyo, what's wrong? Sister Yiyu, do you have time?" The young Feng Jiuyo wiped the sweat off his face and asked Yi Qingtang. Yi Qingtang smiled and said to Feng Jiuyo, "Your parents told me to look after you and not allow you to go to the middle of the mountain." Yi Qingtang thought that Feng Jiuyo wanted to drag her to MT Zhong to search for herbs again. "That's not it, Sister Yiyu. I don't want to go to the middle of the mountain." Feng Jiuyo explained, "Sister Yiyu, do you want to cultivate with us? As you're from the mixed heavens holy domain, your strength isn't that strong." Yi Qingtang. In the end, Yi Qingtang still agreed. It seemed she couldn't bring herself to reject this future legendary figure. "Sister Yiyu, I've reached a bottleneck, but I still have to work harder. We can cultivate together and become experts in the future. I don't want to see the Feng family continue to be bullied." The young Feng Jiuyo clenched his fists. "Jiuyo, did something happen?" Yi Qingtang frowned. Feng Jiuyo stared at Yi Qingtang and seemed to want to say something. In the end, he only shook his head. "Sister Yiyu, it's nothing. Let's cultivate together." You're tuning in to the Romance Rendezvous YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.